So we got a little bit of a weird question here, my favorite kind. It says, our buddy says, "Yo, Elliot, I noticed a month ago my back and chest started to feel really tense. I talk faster than usual, walk really fast, and can't really think clearly because I'm so hyper. Any advice to be normal and get rid of this tense muscle I feel in my chest and back? Prior to that, a month ago, I was in high school and weightlifting. Help? Question mark." So this is a part of the reason why it sounds strange, but I'm against the building up of a lot of thick, rigid muscle in the upper body. I personally have experienced that the bigger the muscles in my chest and my mid-back, especially up here, the bigger my traps get, and I naturally have just big traps, but if I start doing shrugs or upright rows or anything that causes the muscles in this portion of my body, right? Because it's all integrated by fascia, right? Not just the nervous system, but we also have tissue that links our whole body together. And then I end up starting to have tension in my neck and in my jaw and in my head because I'm doing a lot of shrugs, I'm doing a lot of like high volume. This is really what it is, it's high volume. Part of the reason why I like high intensity, low volume is because you don't get that tense feeling in your muscular system that some guys like. And I'm not saying everybody should do what I do or approach training the way I approach it. These are my experiences, and apparently our friend is experiencing a lot of the same shit that I do when I do high volume weightlifting, specifically for the upper body. And I'm talking about like from your diaphragm up. It all restricts my ability to breathe softly and ground my energy. And if you're experiencing tension across the chest and throughout the back, it's going to make you feel neurotic like you're feeling right now. And I know when I'm ungrounded, when I use this term ungrounded, I mean that your energy is displaced from your balls. The ground of your energetic existence is in your pelvic floor. And as you become muscular, as your muscular system becomes tense around your belly, and then starts moving up into your diaphragm, up into your chest and your neck and your face, you sort of lose the roots of your existence. You lose your grounding. I don't know how else to describe it without being too poetic. And what happens is I begin noticing it right away because first I'll begin speaking too fast, speaking ahead of myself. And I, like you say, I'm hyperactive. You know, they gave me pills when I was a kid because I was hyperactive. This kid needs to sit down and shut the fuck up. Well, I realized that a lot of it had to do with the displacement of my energy. When I say energy, it's nothing mystical about it. When I say that, I mean basically how your nervous system is focusing its attention, if you will, in certain areas of the body. And it would rise. And my behavior is a manifestation of this muscular tension. I've called it neurotic holding patterns. And my inability to breathe is present. This is why I emphasize the use of doing bioenergetic exercises, yoga, stretching the body, and deep breathing. These all contribute to softening the muscular tension in parts of the body that reduce your ability to breathe deep. Because when you begin slowing down and breathing deep into your pelvic floor, down, allowing your diaphragm to drop deeply into the abdominal cavity, your organs soften, when I use that term viscera, the visceral system, it not only includes, look this up, the visceral system doesn't simply include the organs. I say organs because the autonomic nervous system, which integrates the organs, is the non-thinking intelligence of our body. It's the non-conscious intelligence of our body. It's the part of your body that beats your heart without you having to beat your heart. Do you beat your heart? Do you remind yourself, heart, you need to beat? Or do you remind your stomach that it needs to release certain enzymes in order to digest food? Do you help peristalsis with your colon? You don't do any of that. When I say you, I mean your conscious mind. You're not doing that. That's what makes human beings so unique in that way. It's like we can focus on other shit. Most animals, But anyway, there's this form of intelligence in our body, and when I say viscera, your visceral system, it is a portion of your brain integrated with the organs. And if it becomes tense and it's rigid, if the organs are tense and rigid because the autonomic nervous system is tense and imbalanced, you're going to be ungrounded, you're going to be unhealthy. It'll lead to all sorts of disease. And usually the disease stems from actions and behaviors that we take. If I'm ungrounded, I make ungrounded choices, right? I make bad choices about my nutrition. I make bad choices about how I speak to people. You know, if I'm ungrounded, I'll lash out because I'm hyperactive, because the entire visceral system and muscular system is tense. You've got to reduce this tension, these neurotic holding patterns in our muscular system to allow ourselves to relax into our strength and sexuality. That's why breathing into your balls. I say this often and it sounds like, you know, of course I'm eccentric in that way. But there's a method to my madness. When I say breathing into your balls, it means that your organ system, your muscular system are soft in such a way that you can breathe peacefully, softly, have a nice, what Wilhelm Reich called your orgastic or respiratory wave. You want to have a respiratory wave. If you watch a baby laying on its back while it's breathing, there's this soft wave of its entire core, from its hips to the tip of its head. It almost looks like when you're screwing, you know, and you're stroking with your woman, right? A really good, powerful sexual stroke, one it's going to allow you to muster up all the sexual energy in your body and have a tremendous sexual release, orgasm. And one that your lady's going to like a lot is when your entire core, your entire body is waving with the strokes. See, a lot of us are so muscularly tense, so tense in our belly and tense in our chest, and we don't breathe, and our body is so segmented, chopped up, castrated, that when we're screwing, it's just this. Right? It's like your body's one fucking unit and you're just jabbing with your dick. Right? It doesn't allow for that breathing orgastic wave. Wilhelm Reich, one of the guys that I study that gives me a lot of these wacky ideas, calls it your respiratory wave. You'll see it in a baby. If you study ancient forms of internal martial arts, there's a really good book called Embryonic Breathing that describes this. But Reich not only likens it onto, or not only associates it with your capacity to breathe, but also your orgastic capacity or sexual capacity. He would often describe an assessment that he would make about a person's sexuality by their ability to breathe. Because there's a wave associated with breathing and screwing, dude. I don't even remember the goddamn question. What are we talking about here? Honestly, I forgot. Hang out. Hyperactive. So, through bioenergetics, and of course I work with a professional, my mentor, Bob Glazier, and I'm going through a multi-year, I think it's about 6-year course. And he's got me tied in because every few months I go and I spend several days with him studying bioenergetics, the body, mind, and psychology. You perform exercises that help you reduce it's a chicken or an egg situation. You've got to consider that the muscle, the neuromuscular system, and the brain are linked. So you can create muscular tension in your body with bad thoughts. Just think scary shit. A really good book that I started reading recently, I'm ranting a lot lately, is by Peter Levine called Trauma-Proofing Your Children. And he has a series of exercises in that book that are stories that you tell yourself. And it's funny because they go on these expansion and contraction adventures. So when you read the story, the idea is to notice the sensations in your body. And he'll talk about, hey, you're walking through a nice field, and all of a sudden a tiger jumps out. What do you feel? So the idea of the stories is to get in touch again with our feelings, the feelings of our body. And Boy, I'm really ranting today. I need to stop. Anyway, you've got to learn to, yes, okay. You got to understand the fluctuations in your thought and recognize how different thought patterns contribute to muscular holding. If you get scared, you've got to recognize that there are certain muscles that are associated with that fear. So how does your body respond neuromuscularly? How does your muscular system respond to thoughts of fear or anger, frustration, right? And a lot of us hold chronic anger, fear, frustration from experiences that we had as children. You know, if you've ever had road rage, like that's the straw that broke the camel's back, because you're carrying around a lot of rage, you're carrying around a lot of muscular tension. So it could be the stories that we tell ourselves based on the experiences that we've had that need to be dealt with. But at the same time, the muscular system becomes chronically rigid in this particular way and needs to be dealt with also through massage and stretching. That's why breathing, yoga and breathing exercises are so important. And bioenergetics, because what bioenergetics allows you to do when you do a lot of the crazy shit that you see me doing, yelling and screaming, shaking your body and going over the bow and allowing your body to vibrate and doing all this shit, is you're releasing emotional baggage that is causing your muscular tension, that doesn't allow you to breathe, doesn't allow you to stroke where you should be stroking. So that's it. So I hope that's helpful for you. Hopefully I put you in touch with some resources. Look, my man, if you happen to be ungrounded in the way that you describe because you've got muscular tension in your chest and in your back, watch a video that it will either go up this week or it went up last week, where I teach you how to use the bow once again and build a bioenergetic stool. Lay over the stool. That's going to allow you to open up your thoracic cavity, soften the muscles on the back part of your body, and stretch the muscles. So really you're softening through with the foam roller, you're softening the muscular system on the back, and you're stretching the muscular system on the front. This particular area is associated with breathing, and you want to soften it through the exercises and stretches that I teach you in that way.